Chandeliers present Legacy, a one-act play for radio written and directed by Mari Corman and technical production by Nigel Pye. Cast, members of the Chandeliers Drama Group.
Barbara! Barbara! Over here!
In a minute! Get 'em on, Pat.
Right.
Are you serving?
Yeah, okay. I've only got one pair of hands. Mom?
Oh, as soon as I finish this drink, this nice man has brought me. Coming in on a wing and a prayer.
Oi!
Coming in on a
Rosie?
wing and...
What? You promised. Remember? Do Barbara's shift this afternoon? You know she's not feeling well.
Oh, she's fine.
Careful. Sit down before you fall down.
Oh, go away.
What, Jet? Oh, God! Keep your hands to yourself. I know what you colours are like.
Right, lads, you've had your fun now, so have a bit of respect. We're all going to get slung out.
Thanks. But I have seen worse down at the college bar.
Call me old-fashioned, but don't you think you're asking for trouble? A young lady like yourself on her own in a public bar? Things can get a bit lively, you know, with the commemoration of VE Day.
Why shouldn't a woman have a drink in a bar on her own?
Well, sorry, it's just
What?
that some men might think that...
I'm fair game.
Well, especially when they've had a few.
Check the date. 1966, not 1866.
Even so...
Would you rather I dressed in crinoline and trained myself to sink?
Whoa!
Sorry. Didn't mean to bite your head off.
And I was only trying to be a gentleman.
Gentleman? Patriarchal, more like.
Learned my lesson.
Time to get off my soapbox.
Coming in on a wing and a prayer.
Mom, pipe down.
Oh, what's up?
She's much used to the chocolate teapot. Change the record.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. Come on, you lot, don't know where me.
Mom, get off the table.
She'd be better off home.
Oh, my shift doesn't finish for another hour yet.
Isn't there someone else who could hold the fort?
All busy setting up street parties.
I can take her home.
Thanks, Pass.
Looks a dead weight. Got far to go.
Oh, just down the street. Next door to us.
I could give you a hand.
Well...
Well, if you don't think I'm being patriarchal, that is.
I'll make an exception.
Coming in on a wing and a prayer. Coming in on a...
Nearly finished.
16, 17, 18,
What's next, Kay?
19, 20, 21.
I said, what's next?
Oh, John.
Sorry, love.
Pity, that daughter of yours isn't here to help you.
Pat only got home yesterday, Dad, and shot round to see Barbara. 3, 4, 5.
All this studying? I mean, politics, I ask you. She'd be wanting to stand for Parliament next.
7, 8. No, that's not right.
Why shouldn't she?
Being a wife and a mother. That's
Can
what
we
she should
just
be
have a
doing.
truce for one day, please?
Sorry, love. So, what else is there to do?
Well, sandwiches, pork pies, sausage rolls.
I didn't think the whole of Portsmouth was invited.
Precious few of them at church this morning. Not even my own family.
Kay's been rushed off her feet.
Dad, didn't you say you wanted to listen to that concert on the wireless? I think it started 5 minutes ago.
Bit late now.
I'll bring you a cup of tea up later.
Good idea. Right, sit down. I'm making the
Oh,
tea.
but I've got so much to
No
do.
arguments.
Oh, what about the food?
There's
It's
enough food to feed an army already.
Oh, what would I do without you?
I hope you never have to find out.
Mum, Dad.
At last, your
Yeah,
mother's.
sorry about that. Rosie was absolutely hammered. So, we had to take her home.
We?
Then he said he'd help Barbara finish her shift as well. Fit to drop she is.
Who's he?
Sorry, Peter. He's just outside.
Don't leave him on the doorstep.
This is very kind of you to
Meet
invite
Mum
me.
and Dad.
John and Kay. Good of you to help out. Isn't it, Kay? Kay?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course.
Have a seat. Dragging that Rosie home would give anyone a thirst. The least we can do is offer you a cup of tea.
All this food needs sorting out. John, you said you'd help.
Mum, you've done enough.
That's what I keep telling her.
Oh, what about Barbara's shift at the pub? Shouldn't Peter?
Oh, she can hang on for another 10 minutes.
But
Barbara will be fine. Just a cup of tea. That's what we all need. And I'm not taking no for an answer.
all right.
Peter's here for the opening of the Arnhem Memorial.
Many good men lost there. About time they got round to finally remembering them. September 1944, wasn't it, Kay? I remember all those thousands of paras waiting for off.
Now, what about that cup of tea then?
I'm on my way.
Pat, why don't you give your dad a hand in the kitchen?
Oh, but I want
Please,
to...
dear. It's my best crockery out there, you know, and you know what your dad's like.
I heard that.
All right.
Painful memories. Perhaps best to leave that all in the past.
Sorry, love.
Dad's just knocked over that awful china pot Granda gave you. Go bananas.
I'll wrap it in some paper and throw it away.
Won't Granda mind?
Oh, just do it. Please, Pat.
I'll bring the tea in.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Pat, make sure your dad brews it for 2 minutes.
Okay.
I have good memories from that time. Etched on my brain. Everything. Clear as a bell.
Well, even last week's a bit of a mystery these days. John's always saying, I don't know how I'd manage without him.
Reliable, hard-working, honest. Makes your pulse tingle.
Far too busy paying the bills, looking after the house, not to mention a crotchety father.
And a daughter at university.
So, if you'll excuse me, I really
A
must.
few minutes, surely. Do you know, my poor mother thought she'd seen a ghost when I was stretchered home after the war. She'd just been round to see the vicar about my name being added to the list of the glorious dead.
You are missing. Presumed dead.
Brewed to perfection.
Here at last.
I don't believe it, Kay. Well, you and Pat could be sisters.
Doesn't take after me for looks, fortunately.
It's strange. You'd have thought there would be some similarity.
It happens.
I said Peter could come to the street party, Mum. That's all right, isn't it?
Oh, he's probably got other things to do. He must want to catch up with all his friends.
No, much rather get to know you and your lovely family.
That's great, isn't it, Mum? Look, I know I'm a pain, but I really do need to check up on Barbara.
I thought Peter was going to do her shift.
I just want to give her a hand before he turns up.
No, that's fine, dear. You run along.
Are you sure, Kay?
See you later then, Peter.
Look forward to it. Lovely daughter you've got there, John.
We think so.
Very passionate about all these political campaigns she's involved with. Did you know about them, Kay?
Oh, she hasn't had a chance to tell me much.
Quite a feminist. Really radical, you know. Birth control for single women as well as married, and abortion to be legalised. Times certainly are a-changing. Not like in our day. If a girl found herself in trouble, then, well, shotgun wedding perhaps if you were lucky. Don't you agree, John?
Not all of us took advantage of a young girl. We waited until we got married. Didn't we, Kay?
Well, you're a miserable looking bunch. Why aren't you youngsters up there enjoying yourselves? Come on, get up, the night is young.
Mom!
Oh, when I was your age, I could burn the candle at both ends and in the middle.
All right for you. Sat down guzzling beer and then sleeping it off. Some of us are knackered.
She really is looking peaky.
What about you, Pat?
Oh, go on. Otherwise we'll never hear the end of it. Making a show of herself again.
Oh, are you all right?
Yeah, long day. I don't know what I would have done without... Oh, talk of the devil. Over here, Peter. My knight in shining armour.
Don't let Pat hear you say that. Far too patriarchal.
Oh.
Wouldn't you be better off lying down?
Just a stomach ache. Haven't had time to eat today. I'm just going to go and grab some grub.
Seen Pat anywhere?
Why?
Just wanted to have a word.
Oh, busy catching up over there. I'd give it a miss if I were you.
Got all night.
Later on, we've got plans. Special celebration, family celebration. So there's no real point in you hanging...
Your anniversary? Oh, no. Now I come to think of it, Pat happened to mention it was January 1945. Must be a birthday
Pat.
then. 21 today. And poor, honest and honourable John, by his own admission, couldn't possibly be the father.
All right, stop playing games.
Good thing you're in the Women's Land Army, or not the secret agents. Wouldn't have thought the Jerry's for a minute. That story you concocted had more holes than
All
a
right.
colander.
All right. Pat is your daughter. But that doesn't make you her father. Not in the real sense of the word. Were you there when she fell over and grazed her knee? Did you sit with her and tell it would be all right when she didn't want to go through the door on her first day at school? Or when her first boyfriend threw her over and she was in floods of tears? Where were you then?
If only.
What?
All those years. Hoping. Praying. Watching Alice go through that
Alice?
heartache every month. My wife. Just when you thought you'd escaped the war. Oh, it had the last laugh. Doctors warned me I'd be unlikely to father children.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm glad you found someone else.
Second best is not a good feeling. Alice walked out 3 years ago.
I'm sorry.
I have a right to get to know my daughter. That war has robbed me of so much already. After all these years, I deserve that.
John's her father. She adores him. Why turn her world upside down? What good would it do?
You should have told her the truth years ago.
Easy for you to say. Do you know what I had rammed into me when I was growing up? Over and over again. Mum and Dad, nuns at school. A white wedding dress had to mean something. If they'd have known I'd got pregnant by somebody I'd only just met at a dance. So when John suggested we tell my parents that one night we'd had too much to drink and... Oh, there was an awful stink at first. I thought Dad was going to horsewhip him until John said he'd marry me.
Man was either a saint or in love.
He first asked me to marry him when we were 5 years old.
You could have waited. I would have stood by you.
And how was I supposed to know that? Mum and Dad would have thrown me out in the streets. No home, no job. How could I have looked after a young child? I was desperate. I even tried, well, you know. but the gin and hot baths hadn't worked.
Thank God.
John loved her like she was his own. He made me promise not to say anything, ever. She was his child, and that was the way it was going to stay. It would break his heart if she ever found out.
What about other children? John's children?
John would have loved to had more, but it wasn't to be.
Sorry. But she's not a little girl anymore. She's a strong woman. Doesn't she have a right to know who her biological father is? Wouldn't you want to know? What happens if she finds out that you've been lying to her all these years? What then? Are you prepared to take that chance?
Yes, I have no choice.
I do. I'm going to get to know my daughter. Either you tell her, or I will.
Not here. Not now. Not on her birthday.
When then?
I need time.
Tomorrow. No later.
Barbara? Barbara, are you all right? Rosie, it's Barbara. Get yourself over here now. Pat?
Barbara? You all right?
Barbara, get up, you silly cow.
Rosie, I think we need an ambulance.
Oh, can't take a drink. That's her trouble.
She's bleeding.
What?
Oh, no. What have you done?
Barbara, what's she talking about?
Rosie, ambulance, now.
Right, now I need some clean towels to stop this bleeding.
I'll get them.
That tablecloth over there. Get it, Kay? Right. Now press that down. Harder. Harder. We've got to stop that bleeding.
Kay,
What?
you just put 2 spoons of sugar in my tea.
Oh, sorry.
What's up with you today?
Oh, nothing. I'm just a bit
Not
tired.
surprised after all that shouting and screaming. Then those sirens, it kept me up half the night. I thought Third World War had broken out.
Sorry, Dad.
The moment they moved next door, I said that lot were trouble.
Bert's a good mate.
But that Rosie is no better than she ought to be. Bad influence on our Kay ever since they moved here. Not surprised that daughter of hers turned out the way she has. Children need a firm hand. Discipline. That's how Frida, God rest her soul, brought up our Kay here. Respectable, hard-working, God-fearing.
I'll go.
Young lady, you haven't finished your breakfast.
Oh, if I could get my hands on that bastard.
How's Barbara?
Knitting needles. Knitting needles he used on her. Butcher.
But is she all right?
Well, she'll live, but only just about.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, but no thanks to you.
Well, it's not Pat's fault.
I told her not to go. It was a stupid idea. I tried to tell her there were other ways, but she was desperate.
What about the father?
Oh, one of those travelling salesmen with the gift of the gab. And then scarpers back home to his missus when he's had his bit of fun.
She'd probably led him on. All those short skirts they wear these days, serving it up on a plate.
Grandad.
I'd always drummed it into her. Keep your legs together, girl, and your wits about ya.
He told her his wife didn't love him anymore, and he was just waiting for a divorce. She really loved him.
Love? Oh, that won't butter no parsnips. And Bert's doing his nut.
Police will have to talk to her.
Why?
It's a crime. Killing an unborn child?
It's the law that needs to change. Women should have control over their own bodies so they can decide when they want to have a baby, not resort to back abortionists.
What needs to change, young lady? Is you young women dropping your knickers at any opportunity?
Oh, I suppose it's all right for you men sowing your wild oats then, is it? The old double standard.
Dad, Pat, please, not now.
Well, fortunately, not everyone in the country agrees with Grandad. It's just a matter of time before the law changes. Peter agrees with me.
Peter?
God, forget me head next. Said he wanted to see you, Pat. Something important it was.
Where is he?
He's round at mine. Came to find out about Barbara this morning. If it hadn't been for him, she'd never have made it to the hospital alive.
Well, there's no rush, is there?
Well, he did say he had a train to catch.
I'll come now then.
Oh, you haven't finished your breakfast.
I'll eat it when I get back.
It'll be stone cold.
I'll put it under the grill later.
Oh, it's never the
That
same.
girl should do as she's told.
Kay, this is not like you. Stop badgering the girl.
Well, it's just that I needed to speak to you. It's really important.
Can't it wait?
No, there's something I've got to tell you.
What?
There's something I need to show you upstairs.
It's like Piccadilly Circus in here.
I'll go.
Sorry, walls are rather thin.
And what business is it of
Well,
yours?
if I'm not mistaken, I was the subject of the conversation.
Rosie said you wanted to speak to me?
Will somebody tell me what's going on in here?
Mum, anyone would think that you were trying to stop me seeing Peter.
Kay.
I'm not. I'm just tired. Can you blame me? First a street party, Pat's birthday, and all this upset over Barbara. I couldn't sleep last night with all the worry. I just snapped, that's all. I'm sorry, Pat.
Now, if you'd been here to give your mother a hand...
No, I don't buy it. You've been acting strangely ever since we met Peter. It's something to do with him, isn't it?
I hardly know him.
You've seen him before. I know you have.
Mum?
He was stationed here in September 1944, wasn't he?
Well, there were hundreds, thousands possibly of servicemen here then.
There was this dance. 1st of September it was. Portsmouth was packed. Everyone trying to have a good time in case, well, tickets were like gold dust, but this friend of mine, he'd managed to get me one. The dance floor was heaving, hardly an inch of space, and then...
I'll never forget that dance. One minute that yank was swinging me through the air. Next thing I was on the ground, coughing on dust and brushing the glass off me hair. Then I heard this sort of groaning next to me. So I put out my hand, and when I looked down, I thought someone had spilled some red wine on it. But it was blood. Oh, at first I thought it was mine. But then I realised it was this girl's arm. Except it wasn't attached to her anymore. All I could hear was this scream. Loud as anything it was. And coming from me. Oh, I don't know how I staggered home after that. That's when I saw just a dirty great hole in the ground where the house had been. The old bleeding family had been in there.
Coming round bothering us for sugar, as if we had any. Out of our minds with worry as it was.
Why?
Your mother didn't turn up until later in the morning. Convinced we were she'd been killed.
Were you at the dance, Mum?
That's all they ever talked about, the other girls. What they were going to wear, all the handsome men in uniform, bright lights, big band. Just once, I thought. Just once.
Oh, only a bit of fun, Kay.
All these people. Oh, I can't go, Rosie.
Oh, get in there, girl. Lay your hair down for once.
That's when I saw her, standing shyly in the doorway. The prettiest girl I'd ever seen.
Peter, don't.
The one I fell in love with.
What?
It's him, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yes.
You told me he was dead.
I swear, I didn't know he was alive until yesterday.
Mum, well, what's going on?
Time for the truth, Kay.
Oh, it's so easy for you, isn't it? Swanning in here after all these years, blowing our lives apart. Why can't you leave us alone?
What truth,
I
Mum?
think it's time you left.
I'm not going anywhere.
This is my house and my wife and daughter, and you'll do as I say.
Dad!
Kay, call the police!
Stop it. Pair of you. Now. Peter, just go, please.
Not until I've spoken to Pat.
Pat, get upstairs.
Do as your father says.
Except he isn't. Is he, Kay?
Shut your filthy mouth or I'll shut it for you. Pat, upstairs now.
I'm not going anywhere until someone explains what is going on here. Mum? Dad? Grandad?
Don't ask me. I don't know any more than you do. But I'm going to get to the truth now if it's the last thing I do. Kay, what is going on here? And I want the truth this time, or God help me, I'll put you across my knee as big as you are.
Kay, you promised.
Peter is Pat's father. I've made you some sandwiches.
No thanks.
Expensive ham and some of that nice tomato relish you like.
Not hungry.
I would have made you some breakfast, but most important meal of the day, your gran used to say. Got to stoke the fire again after a long sleep.
What sleep?
No, I don't suppose. I just wanted to...
What? Force feed me some more lies?
Sorry to announce that due to a signal failure at Watford Junction, 10:25 Portsmouth to London train will be delayed by 30 minutes.
Oh, thank God.
Damn.
What are you doing?
Great. According to the timetable, platform 6 Nixon Express be here in 2 minutes.
Oh, you'll never make it.
Mum, let go of the case.
No.
Just leave it. Look what you've done now.
Shoes on top of everything.
Leave it.
Sorry. I just need to...
What?
Explain.
All these years, I thought Dad... And it was all a lie.
He may not have been your real father, but he worked overtime to put food in your mouth, clothes on your back and a roof over your head. Worked his fingers to the bone so you could have the opportunities that we'd never had. Good education, a career. And why? Because he loved you from the moment you were born. He'll be devastated when he finds out you've just walked out without even a goodbye. At least come back and talk to him. To both of us.
Bit late now.
What about Barbara? How's she going to cope now? Rosie's more interested in the bottle than her own daughter.
But at least she knew who her father was.
Rosie and Bert weren't a marriage made in heaven, you know.
I know they had their rows, but...
Rosie got herself into trouble and decided that Bert could get her out of it. So she got him drunk one night and said the baby was his. He was a decent chap, like your dad. So he married her. On the wedding night, she'd had a skinful and let it slip. Bert never forgave her. He just couldn't accept another man's child. Well, he went through the motions.
Oh, so I was luckier than Barbara. That still doesn't excuse it.
There's something else.
Strange. How suddenly you can't turn the tap off now, can you, Mum?
I found an old creased sepia photo in the box after Mum died. My Aunt Grace, Mum's older sister, fell in love with a soldier on leave in 1916. Killed in action, but not before he'd left her with a baby and no wedding ring.
Must run in the family. Born in from Grace. All right. Some things don't change. Why do you think I'm campaigning for the rights of women? Didn't end well, I take it.
Thrown out. Eked out a living, taking in washing to support them both. Starving and living in an overcrowded tenement. She and the child died of the Spanish flu in 1919.
All these secrets, family skeletons. Why the hell did you keep them hidden all these years?
It was for the best. That's what they all said. But it wasn't. I know that now. I'm sorry. I should have told you.
Sorry for what? Sorry that Peter forced your hand?
No.
So when, if ever, would you have told me? No. Far easier to keep quiet. And now you can just blame everyone else for making you keep secrets. How about standing up for my rights? Or didn't I matter?
How can you say that? Of course you mattered. I love you.
Funny sort of love that denies me the right to know who I really am. Where I came from, my father, my real father. Do you know how that makes me feel? Do you? Doubt it ever crossed your mind, did it? For 21 years you have lied to me. Just protect yourself. Because you didn't dare challenge men who told you what to do. Grandad, Dad, Holy Mother of the Church, who is of course ruled by men. They set the rules and you just meekly rolled over. Yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. Why couldn't you just have said no?
That's not fair. It's easier for you. It's a different world now. Young women can think for themselves, speak out.
Okay, more difficult then, but not impossible. Women weren't all passive then. You still had a choice. But no, it was easier for you to take a passive role. Let me pay the price.
I know you're hurting.
You still
but...
don't get it, do you? What about me? Not for one solitary moment in all this long litany of excuses have you ever considered how I might feel when everything I've ever believed in has been whipped away like a rug under my feet and I'm left stranded on shifting sands. I don't know what to believe, who to trust anymore.
Perhaps one day
What,
you
forgive? What is it Granda believes in? Confess to the Almighty, a quick Our Father and 10 Hail Marys and all is forgiven. Hey presto.
Pat!
When was the last time you set foot in the confessional box? You don't believe in it any more than I do.
Please announce that the Portsmouth London train will be arriving at platform 1 in just 1 minute.
At last. Peter's given me his address. I'm going to stay with him for a few days. Got a lot of catching up to do. No arguments?
No.
The train now arriving at platform 1 is the 10:25 Portsmouth to London train.
I'll give you a hand with your case.
No need.
And don't forget your packed lunch.
No. Okay, thanks.
Pat,
Mum, I've got to go.
we both love you.
I know.
You have been listening to Legacy, a one-act play performed by the Chandeliers Drama Group. An original play written and directed by Mari Corman, technical production by Nigel Pye. Pat was played by Jodie Parks, Barbara by Gemma Jordan, Rosie by Kim Glover, Peter by Martin Mitchell, Kay by Sue George, John by Christian Ward Davis, Simon by David Darvill, station announcer by Nigel Pye. Sound effects were recorded as required or provided by Artlist, Epidemic Sound or the BBC Sound Archive. The play contains music from Artlist and Epidemic Sound, licensed to Nigel Pye.